Jason, hey, congratulations on your new film, The Big Bend.
Thank you so much. I'm excited people are finally going to get to see it.
I know I want to say I heard and talked about with a few of your cast members a while back, and but it is so exciting to get an indie project like this out to the world.
Yeah.
But let me start with, the obligatory question we always ask. What initially drew you that you wanted to be part of The Big Bend?
Well, it certainly was a very unique script. You don't read a script like that and I to get to play a character like that. I do play characters with a full spectrum of emotions sometimes, but obviously to get to carry a lot of the film, even though it is also an ensemble. Um, But the conversation with Brett was pretty strong. We believe in a number of things, nuance, taking time, and it was a very unique project. It's not one thing. Yes, it's a couple dynamic. It's a friendship dynamic. It's got a mythical element. So there's a lot in there. It wasn't one thing. Also, I've never been to that part of the world before. I like independent filmmaking because I come from the theater, so who are a community for a very specific amount of time on a very specific budget who have to solve things together. And this presented some pretty unique challenges. So that part I knew was going to be an adventure. Sometimes when you read something and you're scared and excited, it's a definite yes. And in the world of when you get offered things, it's the definite yeses are rare, is what I would say. The definite nos are easier. It's the other ones that are tricky. So this was a definite yes.
Absolutely. And you played this character Corey very well. How did you get into, the mental space of Corey? Because he had to go through so much through this film.
Oh gosh, I just I have even then when we shot the film, I had experienced enough uh in this life to be around people that had various um bad news. I'm trying to not reveal the thing that we're navigating things, whether they're marriage difficulties or health crises or mental anguish, whatever. So that part is not hard. I'm a pretty contemplative person, so that part is not hard for me to access. Unfortunately, I'm not afraid of heights either, so that part wasn't hard.
And of course, you have good chemistry with your fellow castmate Virginia
Yeah,
on screen. And I know with a lot of independent projects, you probably have a very short amount of time to develop that chemistry. Can you tell how you and Virginia pulled that off?
sure. I mean, it is Virginia and I knew each other very casually. I met her on the street. She stopped me on the street in New York. She had gone to SMU in Dallas, and I had played Hamlet at the Dallas Theater Center, and she saw it, and she stopped me on the street and said really lovely things to me on the street one time. And so we had met, and then she did this incredible play, The Flick. So we were very casually knew each other. But exactly as you say, you sort of drop in, and the way the scheduling worked and stuff, the very first shot of the day, the very first scene of the movie was our sex scene that happens. And we're like, well, here we go. These are my parts, and let's talk about it. And I'm actually very proud of that scene because it's a couple having sex, trying to be quiet. It's not glamorous. It's funny. It's sweet. It's all kinds of things. And there's another scene in the movie that we caught on the fly, not scripted, that the DP Paul Atkins caught because the sun was going down and something had happened. And it's an unspoken moment between the two of them with that beautiful music underneath, where you don't know what their secret is yet, but you'll find it out soon enough. So you just gotta, that was a great luck. You can't predict chemistry. There's some things you can do acting, it is acting. But that was a pretty unique chemistry, I will say, with Virginia. So it was nice and really nice that we got to share it together. We're still really good friends. She's had, well, she was pregnant when we were shooting the film, and now the kids are. I see them, they're so cute. These twins, they're in school now.
That is wonderful, especially the fact I love the story that you could just bump into each other on the streets of New York
Yeah.
as actors because I live here on the West Coast and n none of us would even acknowledge each other's
Right.
existence on the sidewalks. So
Right. Right.
That's terrific. I also found it great is the fact that you get to work with children, and in Hollywood they never say to work with children and animals, we're talking about very young children, and they did terrific in this
They
film.
did. They did great. All of them. Obviously, one of the biggest laugh lines in the film is Gavin's, who says the parents are talking, which he said and whatever. They're also huge now. They're so sweet. Yeah, no, it's funny. And also in the desert, being that hot. And the two daughters happened to be, even though he went through a whole audition process, happened to be the writer-director Brett Wagner's daughters. And they were so unique. Delilah, she's the youngest that you might be concerned about because she's the youngest, but she's so funny and so unique in the film. So, it was good. You just have to, I mean, look, at some point when you're shooting a film or acting anything, you just have to accept the reality to be what it is, and incorporate it into whatever the scene is. And on an independent film and in 122 degrees in the desert, and with a kid, you really have no choice. I mean, the only animals were the snakes, I think, and well, the horses in the film. So fortunately, the snake was not a problem because there was a handler there, so I didn't have to worry about that.
122 degrees out in the desert of Texas, this area called Big Bend. I never been to Big Bend before, and that must have been, you said it was the first for you. That must have been the delight, right? Or was
I
it
mean,
torturous?
no, it was, excuse me, it was wild. Yeah, I had never been. It's so hard to describe, which is part of the reason why I love the very first long shot of the film because it's vast and it's hard for your mind to get it into your head. And it makes communication tough, all kinds of things, but it also quiets you because you're around so much nature and stillness. And I understood something better about Texas writ large by going there. And I'd been in Dallas and other places, Fort Worth, other places in Texas, but I'd never been there, Austin, but I'd never been there. And I understood something, people that wanted to live off the grid, want to be quiet. I understood. I come from a small town in upstate New York. It's not that small comparatively, but so there was something that touched me also about that, just getting quiet. I've lived in New York, now I live in LA. We do what we do, so we're just constantly and it was nice to have to slow down, which is also what I responded to in the film, honestly. So it was hard. I mean, there was heat exhaustion, and when someone got rushed to the hospital, that's an hour and a half, hour 45 rush. So it's, scary. There's all kinds of things that happen, but we made it. We made it through.
You certainly did. And one more thing I want to basically mention because this is one of Erica Ash's last projects, and I spoke with Erica and the rest of your castmates when this film premiered at the Santa Barbara International Film Festival, a couple years ago. Can
Yeah.
you talk about Erica before
I,
she passed?
I would be happy to talk about her. It's a horrific loss. She was, I mean, my phone is full of hilarious videos. She's one of the, from her body of work, she's one of the funniest people. She was one of the funniest people on the planet. And so we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of heart to hearts, she and I getting to know each other. The place that the four of us stayed, it's like the Terlingua Hotel. So there's like a building that has four rooms in it, two and two. And so Virginia was next to me, and David was on the other side, and she was diagonal. So we would just have talks at night and stuff like that. And she was extremely very soulful and pragmatic, and obviously, again, funny. I could never say that enough. And private also. So at one point, listen, it's a miracle. This film was completed in the pandemic and it finally premiered last year in April. And now we're finally on all these platforms. Thank God that people can see it and people can see her performance, which is exquisite. So I don't know what to say other than that it was quite a surprise, devastating. And at the memorial that happened not too long ago, it was wonderful to hear. It was wild to see the expanse of her impact. Even on the Emmys this year, they included her, which was quite moving. So It's such a loss, but a very, very, very special, unique person. It was tough for the kids. It was tough for Gavin and Gray, who played her kids, because
Yeah.
it's probably the first loss they've had in their life, and it's not a blood relative, but it's difficult to explain, especially when it was out of nowhere.
Yeah, it is a tough loss, and we'll all miss her. So, Jason, thank you very much for speaking to us about the Big Bend. Everyone needs to check it out because now it's available everywhere. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.